Hello, this is Professor Doug, and we are in Chapter 7 of Hibbler, Mechanics of Materials. This chapter focuses on transverse shear. We're going to look at a couple of examples done in Excel, and we find that this chapter is rather interesting for its practical applications of shear load on I-beams. This is the first time in this series of lectures we'll be seeing I-beams and also T-beams and other members. Let's get right into our first example. So I'll make this a little bit larger and then we can zoom out or in as necessary. This is a beam and it's a 2x4. How about that? 2-inch base and a 4-inch height D in this example. So D is 4. And we're in inches in the English system. If the beam is made from wood having an allowable shear stress, that's tau allowable of 400 psi. What's the maximum magnitude of P? So you have two loads here. You have P, it's at 1/3 of the distance from A to B, and then you have 2P at 2/3 of the distance from A to B. So it's a total load of 3P. So we want to know what is maximum value of P to meet or not exceed this allowable shear stress of 400 psi. And again, it's a 2x4, right? So we're going to enter the variables. We put in 400 psi for tau allowable. We have our D, which is the height here, and that's 4 inches depth, I suppose you could call it. And then the base, 2 inches, it's a 2x4. Then each respective length from A to P, P to 2P, and 2P to B is 2 feet. They all add up to 6. So we're just going to sum those three to make this interactive. And we're going to convert all of these to inches, all right, because we want to calculate everything in the inches and pounds system. All right, so the first thing we want to do before we get to the section properties is find the support reactions at A and B. Now you might be able to do that by inspection and proportion, but we're going to do them using a solver technique. So the left support in terms of an XY axis here is, we're going to call that our 0 at letter A. And then the right support is going to be the distance of A to B, which here is 2 plus 2 plus 2 is 6 feet. And the point load in kips, let's just call P1. I always like to set an unknown equal to 1 as a non-zero starter value. That's a dummy value. And then the right support, BY, we're also going to call that 1 for now. So the left support here is going to be, we'll have to just sum these and call it 2, right? It depends on what our random value is here, right? So we're calling our point load 1, we're calling our right support 1 arbitrarily, and then our left support based on that would have to be 2, okay? So let's move on here. For example, if we changed our right support to, 2, our left support would be 1, right, for equilibrium. So we're leaving it at 1. So let's sum the moments around letter A at the support. So you've got P times 2 feet, and you have 2P times 4 feet, both clockwise, so both would be negative. And if we set P equal to 1, then we have 1 times 2 feet, that's a negative, so that's minus 2. And then we have 2 times 1 times 4 feet, so that's also a negative, so that's minus 4 in that case, right? So let's see if that makes sense. Right, so that gives us minus 8 for that particular moment. So we've got a minus 2 and then a minus 8, that's minus 10. But then we have our reaction at B going counterclockwise times 6. So that would be, if B is 1 in this case, which we've arbitrarily assigned it to be 1, we have minus 10 plus 6, which is minus 4. And we know it should be 0 by equilibrium, but it's not because we arbitrarily picked 1 for a load and 1 for the support at BY. We don't care about the AY support just yet. So we want to set this value, which is calculated out to -4, to 0, which it should be by equilibrium, by changing the right support. All right, so we go, in this case, to data, what if analysis, goal seek. This is the simplest way to do it. Up comes our pop-up menu. We set that value of this value here. Let's make sure we get the right value. We're setting this cell, which is B33, which is the sum of the moments around A, equal to 0, equilibrium. It's not 0, it's -4. The reason is because we don't have the correct value for the right support by changing the cell of the right support, which here is C29. And we click OK, and then you can see it's gone through a few iterations of calculations, and we got it. So the right support then is 1.67 if the load P is 1, okay? And that means that the left support is 1.333. So if you add up 1.67 and 1.333, you should get 3, which makes sense because that would be 3 kips up, and if P is 1 kip, then P plus 2P is 3 kips down. So that's the way I've set this up in this equation. So now we're ready to move on to the section properties to find our maximum magnitude of P given tau allowable. So our section properties, the first thing we want to do is calculate the area moment of inertia, which we know for a prismatic member is 1/2 BH cubed. So the base is 2, and it's 1/12 BH cubed. So it's 1/12 of the base, which is this cell, times the height cubed, and we've got it. That's 10.667 inches to the 4th. Note the units. And then where's the neutral axis here, right? Well, the neutral axis in this member is 2 inches from the top, okay? So if we have a depth of 4, it's at 2 inches. That's NA across this cutaway diagram, right? So we want A prime and Y bar in order to calculate Q, all right, which is the section property. So, and that's going to be in inches to cube. So Y bar is just the distance from the neutral axis to the centroid of the upper member as we approach the top fiber. So the upper portion of the member, I should say. So that's just an inch, as you see in the diagram. And we're talking about the shaded part here, from the neutral axis to the top fiber. The area of that shaded part is clearly 2 by 2, which is 4. Y bar is 1, which is shown, which is the centroid of the shaded area to the neutral axis. So if you multiply Y bar times A prime, you get 4, and that's how you calculate Q. It's a simple calculation here, right? So our maximum shear then is 1.67, which is the right support, right? That's the higher of the two values, times P kips, whatever P is, all right? So we want to find out what's the maximum value of P. So we'll do our calculation here for shear stress, tau allowable, which was given to us, 400 psi, is equal to Q times V max over IT. Okay, so here's your Q calculation, is 4 inches cubed. V max is whatever this value is, based on a point load of P, and we've called it 1 for now, right? Divided by I, which is the area moment of inertia, that's a constant here for a 2 by 4, times T, the thickness, and the thickness in this case is going to be 2 inches. All right, so all that said, we know that our maximum shear now is still this P value, which is assumed to be 1 times 1.67, right? So that means that our load, okay, in order to solve this problem, is going to be equal to 1.28 kips, or 1280 pounds, in order to satisfy this equation. Okay, so that's the maximum load we're going to be able to do, P, to satisfy the equation for maximum shear equaling a tau allowable of 400 psi. So let's just drill down a little bit on this before we leave it. How do we get this maximum shear here, right? Well, we took the maximum of the absolute value of the support reactions in this case, right? And that happens to be 1.67. And that would be the shear downward, right? And then how did we get this number 1280, right? Well, what we did here is, if you look at it, we rearranged the equation because we know on the left tau allowable is 400. So if you multiply that by IT, both sides by IT, we know I, we know T, the thickness, right? It's also the base. And then if you divide correspondingly by Q times V max, you will get the result. All right, so the result here is using a rearrangement, algebraic manipulation, is 1,280 pounds or 1.28 kips. All right, and the maximum shear here is this 1.67, which is maximum shear times whatever the load is. Okay, so that's how we solve that problem. We're going to go on to another problem. In this example, we have an I-beam. Okay, so this I-beam happens to be symmetrical. I have a web here of 200, and it's a wide flange beam, and then our W at the bottom is also equal to 200 millimeters, right? So we've got dimensions shown. It might be a little bit small to see this, so we're going to make it a little bit larger. All right, and then we have a guide here which explains, and this is useful because we really only need the guide to fill in all the correct variables. It's a fair amount of data entry, but you'll get your desired solution from this. This will give us the area of a wide flange beam, the perimeter, the X and Y centroid distance, and the second moment of area, which is what we want. So we want the maximum shear stress, that's this V downward. If the beam is subjected to a shear of 30 kilonewtons shear load, what's the maximum shear stress given all the dimensions, right? So 30 kilonewtons is 30,000 newtons, and our base here is 200 millimeters. So let's take a look at this. So I'm using this blue guide here. The dimension A is the bottom flange width. Okay, I said web earlier, I meant flange. That's 200 millimeters. Then the top flange width is the same because it says set W equals 200, right? If they were different, then you could put in the different values. The depth of the beam B, and D rather, right, that is going to be 30 plus 250 plus 30, which is 310. And then the depth of the web, H, in this diagram is given at 250, and the flange thickness, so that is the S value here, which is 30, and then the web thickness at the bottom, the web in here, that's given as 25, okay? 25, you can see it right here, right above the shear load. All right, so then you do your calculations using the chart. We want the area, so you have to do all the area calculations. You just add BS plus HT plus AS, and these are the respective variables. You can see that here on the right. And then the centroid, let's assume that the y-axis goes through the center at t divided by 2, so that's 0, the centroid x, and then that means the centroid y would be this formula that you see here. So be careful not to make a data entry error. And we get the answer here is 155. And then the second moment of area of inertia, right, is 267.7 times 10 to the 6 millimeters to the fourth. So we can convert that to meters to the fourth, right, in this case. And then we want the moment of area. That's the Q equals Y bar times A. All right, so we saw that in the last example. And here's the formula for that. And then you need to fill in all of the respective variables that you see from your list of beam dimensions in order to calculate that. And here it is. So then we go back to our tau max calculations. Remember, the formula is VQ over IT. So VQ over IT. Well, V was given, right, but we need it in newtons. Q was calculated, we need it in meters cubed. I was calculated, we need it in meters to the fourth, and T was given, and that should be in meters. So I've divided that by 1,000 in this case. You can see all of the highlighted cells. And we end up with a result of 4.62 megapascals. So that is the solution.